I feel like there is an outbreak of gaslighters, manipulators, and narcissists, and I feel like not enough people are putting them in their place, and I feel like they're just getting away with way too much. And I feel like whenever you're in the situation with like a gaslighter or manipulator, it's really hard to be like, oh yeah, they're manipulating me 100%. Oh, this person's a narcissist, because they'll literally gaslight you into thinking that you're insane. So I just wanted to make a video talking about the signs of a gaslighter, a manipulator, or a narcissist, and just how to spot them and how to dip. Because I feel like whenever you're with them, it's so unvalidating. Like they don't validate anything. They invalidate everything that you say. They're like, no, you're dramatic. No, like you're just crazy. No, da 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 da. But it's like they're the crazy ones. They're literally the crazy ones. So I'm going to tell you, and some people have no idea how to spot a narcissist or a gaslighter or a manipulator, which I was that person too. So like no judgment. But I'm going to teach you because I've met many of them, and I also study them because I'm a psychology major. So yeah. The first major red flag is that they can never ever be a perpetrator. They are always a victim. They are never the ones doing anything wrong, and even if it's so blatantly obvious that they are doing something wrong, they will flip it. They will make sure that they catch you in a mistake. They can flip the situation onto you, or they will like literally set up a trap for you to make a mistake and be like, well, you did this, so basically what I did wasn't that bad because now we're even. Okay, because here's the thing, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but narcissists, manipulators, and gaslighters, their main thing is they want dominance. Like they want to feel like they are above you, and they never want to feel inferior ever. They always want to feel above. So whenever they feel like they need to apologize or they feel like they're in the wrong, that hits their ego really hard, because they're like, well, now I'm not in power. Now she or he are, above me now because I did something wrong. So now I have to apologize, and that's going to make me look weak. So to avoid that, they will do anything it takes to make you look bad. So for example, if they blew up and they yelled at you, which is a common thing that they do, if they got really mad at you and they yelled at you and you said, hey, I didn't like that you yelled at me, they would be like, well, I wouldn't have to yell at you if you would have done this better, or I don't yell at anyone but you, so basically it's your fault. Like they'll always deflect the blame right back onto you. Or if you bring up a situation where they did something that made you uncomfortable and you're like, hey, I didn't like that, and they're gonna be like, oh, I'm so misunderstood. No one ever gets me. Like no one ever understands how I feel. Like I'm just a misunderstood person. Like I didn't mean anything from that, but now you're trying to make me feel bad. And they just constantly are playing victim. Like nobody understands them. Like they're just constantly a victim. Like everyone's always nitpicking them and blah blah blah. And they don't want you to pick at what they do wrong, or not even pick at what they're doing wrong. They just don't want you to point out what they're doing wrong or communicate with them honestly. They just don't want that. So to avoid that, they always try to make people feel bad for them, so people can't approach them with anything that they do wrong, which is like one of their first manipulation tactics. They're like, my parents always made me feel bad for what I did, or like my past girlfriend was really like constantly telling me everything that I do wrong, so now you feel guilty telling them what they do wrong because now you feel bad for them. You don't want to bring up bad things about them because they think you don't want them to be like, oh, here's another person being mean to me, blah blah blah. Like you just don't want them to feel bad about themselves, so you just don't bring it up. And another thing is that they'll always bring the attention back to them. So if you say, for example, like they called you stupid, okay, they said, oh my gosh, you're so stupid, and you were like, oh, I actually don't like that you say that, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, like no one ever gets a joke. Like they always bring the attention back to them. Like I'm the victim, nobody gets my jokes, people have called me stupid and that's why I call people stupid. Like it's always coming back to them. It's not like, oh, I'm sorry I made you feel bad. It's like you bringing that up brings back trauma and blah blah blah. They bring it back to themselves, and they just cannot take accountability whatsoever unless they're playing victim. The second thing is something that a lot of people don't realize, because it seems like their egos are so big, but actually their egos are extremely fragile, because all they are built off of is not confidence, is just complete ego and narcissism. Like they genuinely are trying to gaslight themselves to think that they are just above everybody else. They have like tricked themselves into thinking that they're just this incredible being, but as soon as somebody brings up something bad about them, their ego is broken, because all they've built themselves up upon is just like ego. Like, you know how people say like there's a difference between confidence and cockiness? They are cocky, and they have a very fragile ego that goes with that. So when you think about it, this actually makes sense, because they're always doing things that will fuel their ego, right? Like they're always doing something that'll make themselves feel better about themselves, whether it's downplaying someone else's success, you know? And sometimes they're doing this in like a very like a very nonchalant way, I guess, where you can't really see that they're doing it. Like they make a joke at your expense. Or if you say like, oh, I got, you know, a 90%, they're like, oh my god, I've gotten 95s my entire life, like please. Like they just always want you to feel bad to make themselves feel better. Or if they're like, if someone came up to you and asked for your number, and you know your narcissistic friend was right next to you, and you were like, oh my god, like that was so nice of them to ask me for my number, like I feel so pretty, and they're like, oh, they just asked for yours because they knew that I would say no, because my arms were crossed like this and it was giving closed off. So that's literally it. Like that's all. Like they just didn't want to ask me. Like they would have asked me though. Like things like that. Like they're just their ego is very easy to break. So they're always trying to build themselves up to make sure that nobody else feels better, like feels like they're better than them. So I actually have an example of this, okay? So I had this friend, she was dating this like rodent, right? And he was a photographer, and he dropped out of school for whatever reason. Like he was in photography school and he dropped out. And then he didn't have a job. So he just sometimes did like random photography, like real estate photography, or photography of just like random people who were just like his friends or whatever. So whenever he was in school, he was also going to school with this guy who is now like a professional photographer. Like he takes like incredible photos, and not famous people, but like famous where I live would like ask him to take pictures. And he's sponsored by like Canon, like the Canon Canon cameras and stuff. So my friend told her man, she was like, you're not in school, like you're not really like working, so something that you could do is make a business for yourself, like if you don't want to work for somebody else. And she had like the best intent in saying this. She was like, you have all the time in the world because you don't have to go to school and stuff, so you should ask the guy who is sponsored by Canon, who has made like a huge business for himself, for tips and advice. She was like, that guy could give you incredible advice, and he could guide you in the best way, and you could get like really great tips from him, and he could basically be like your mentor, and you could build like a great business and like make a lot of money. Or even if it's like a side hustle for you, like it could be really good for you, and it's good to have like friends in the same industry. And her man was so mad because he could not fathom the idea that somebody else is better than him at something. Nobody else could be his mentor. Like he has to be everybody's mentor. Like everybody has to look up to him, because he is just this incredible being in his mind. And he was like feral, enraged. But that's just like an example of how fragile their egos are. And like almost 100% of the time, it is not your fault when they blow up. It's literally just like their egos flying apart and like crumbling, and they have no idea what to do. Okay, the next thing is that you will notice throughout your relationship that their mask starts to slip. So when you first start a relationship with this person and you first date them, it'll be like, oh my gosh, like how is this man single? How is his relationships ever like failed? But if he is setting a standard so high at the beginning of your relationship, and you are starting to see like, oh, like how is he going, like it's not a sustainable amount of love or gift giving or attention that he's giving you, that's probably love bombing, babe. And a lot of narcissists and gaslighters and manipulators do that because they want you to become so obsessed with them that no matter what they do, you're not going to want to leave them. And some of them rely on like a trauma bond, so they'll find you in like a really traumatic situation, and then they basically just like come to your rescue, and you're like trauma bonded with them. Or they'll create like traumatic situations, like they will, you know, push you or hit you or punch you, and then they'll be like, I'm so sorry, like I don't know what got into me, and then they will come to your rescue over something that they did, and they'll create like trauma bonds like that. So you just feel like, you know, like you're just like I can't leave this person, like I've been through so much with him, blah 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 blah, and you just depend on him or her or whatever. So yeah, basically I got off track, but basically they will just like love bomb you, and to them it's like a game, right? Like, how far can I push this person before they leave? And if they notice that you were starting to leave and they pushed you a little bit too far, they'll try to pull you back in. They'll be like, I'm sorry, okay, I'm sorry, I'll never do that again, like, I'm sorry, like, blah 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 blah, and then they will always do it again. They will always do it again. And once their mask slips once, I would say leave. Okay, maybe once it's like, well, I don't think hitting is like one of those things that's like oopsies. It's like, oh my god, my friend who literally has a narcissistic man texting me right now. Wow, what are the odds? Anyways, this video was just meant to be. What was I saying? Oh yeah, like hitting and things like that, like that's not an accident, that's not a whoopsie doodle. Like that's something that like a 2-year-old knows. Oops, I don't hit. Like I think that like that kind of stuff. But if it's like a genuine misunderstanding, I don't think the first time is like a deal breaker, honestly. But if you start seeing patterns of them apologizing, but it's like a fake apology, or it's like a manipulative one, like they're like, okay, I'm sorry, I won't do it ever again. Like they're kind of acting like a kid that's apologizing and not actually taking like accountability. Like they're just saying, I'm sorry. But it's not like they can't explain to you what exactly they're sorry for, or they can't like they tell you like, I'll never do it again, and they do it again. And it's like, okay, so what's the point of this apology? And once you stay, they know that no matter what they do, you will stay. Like if you do not leave, they will be like, okay, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. They'll do it again. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. They'll do it again. And I know it's really hard to leave because they make it almost impossible. They make it like they make it like a game for you too, because they're just so controlling like that. Like they will be so good to you, and then they will take that good away, and they'll be like really mean, and then they'll give the good back to you. So it's like you are constantly working to try to get the good back, and you're like, oh, when will he be nice to me? When will he be nice to me? Blah 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 blah. But it's like you don't have control over that. It's like one of those like game slot machines with like the claw hand. You have no control over it. It's just pure luck, you know? And it's not even luck in this case. It's just like, what on earth? But it's just like you don't have control over whether or not they're going to be nice to you. They choose that. It doesn't matter what you do. Like you could be the nicest person ever to these people, to these narcissists. It's just a game to them. You are literally the joke at hand for them. And if you need to be like on your best behavior all the time and you can't have emotions around these people, this person is not worth it. Not worth it in any capacity. If you can't tell them that they did something that upset you, and they get like all defensive about it, what is the point in being with this person? You are literally with a child. Please pack your stuff up and go, because you will find way better. Like this is like the bar is right here. Like this is minimum expectance, and we're over here. A lot of people could at least hit this bar. So like if you did, it's guaranteed you'll find better than whatever you have right now. The next thing is that they will constantly exploit you, take advantage of you, because they think that they deserve everything. They don't think that they need to give back to other people. They're just like, oh, what can people provide for me? What can people give me? What can I have? What can I get? How far can I push until they give me everything? But they won't have anything in return for you, because all they have is their ego, and nobody wants a slice of that. So they just take and take and take and take and take until you are literally drained and feel like you have nothing else to give. And that's when they become mean to you, because they're like, what on earth is going on right now? Where are my assets? And it's like, bae, you have none. Like every relationship for them is transactional, you know? And like, yes, a lot of people are like that. They're not narcissists. Like for me, for example, like I can't have somebody that's always taking. Like I need to have people in my life that could at least provide me something, whether that be like I don't know, just like friendship, like just basic, like just be there for me, listen to me, because I will do the same for you though. Like I will always have something to provide for you. Also, I'll always be there for you, you know. I'll always want to hang out with you. I'll always want to listen to your problems, but that's not something that they do. They just want and take and take and take and take. They just want things from you. They don't want to give anything in return. So for example, like a narcissistic parent might be like, oh, like a narcissistic mom might be like, oh, like I gave birth to you and I literally gave you life and you can't give me money. You can't take care of me. You can't do this for me. You can't clean my entire room for me. You can't, you know, like they always need to have something given to them. And they always need to guilt trip people. Like people, they can't understand that, like why, they can't understand why somebody else wouldn't want to do something for them at that time. It doesn't matter if you're busy. It doesn't matter if, you know, you don't want to do this. It doesn't matter if you don't feel comfortable with whatever's going on. They just want what they want because they're at the center of their universe. Nothing else, nobody else matters to them. Or like a parent who wants their teenage kid to pay the bills, you know, with them. Might be like, oh, all my life I've never gotten help and you're just the same. You don't help me either. You don't pay for this. You don't pay for that. You're just like your mother. Like your mother didn't want to pay for this. All I have to do everything on my own. And it's just like constantly like they're guilt tripping you and they're trying to make you feel bad for them, which is like the victim mentality again with the narcissism. Okay, the next thing is that everything is worse when it comes to them. So for example, like if you might have a dad, right, okay, so for example, dad has a daughter just had her own baby, and the daughter comes to her dad and is like, oh, I've been having a really hard time, like I feel like the baby never sleeps and I feel like I just can't go out, I can't have time to myself. And the dad's like, well, you know what, like this was the same for me and I feel like nobody felt bad for me whenever this happened and I didn't get to go out either, and my whole life became dedicated to you guys and I had to pay for all these things and like they just can't seem to empathize with people. They just always have to be like the center of the tension, you know. Everything is worse when it comes to them. Oh, I have a headache. Like if you were like, oh, I have a headache, they'd be like, well, I had a migraine 3 days ago and no one seemed to care. And it's like they just always have to be the center of attention. So the last thing that we'll talk about today is that they are such jealous people and their jealousy will turn into abuse, okay? So they always want to be the best. They want the attention on them all the time, okay? So if you guys are, you know, doing a competition, for example, who can throw the most basketballs in the net in 2 minutes? If somebody else wins against them, they will say something so like condescending. They'll be like, wow, like nobody expected you to win. Like I must be having an off day today. Or I went to the gym the other day, which you probably didn't, so my arm is feeling a little bit sore. But congratulations, like, but we'll have to do this another time whenever I, you know, didn't go to the gym. And they make it seem like, you know, it's like a little joke, ha ha ha, but it's like there's a lot of truth behind it. They're trying to degrade you, you know. Or if you get your report card and you're seeing who had the highest average and you have a higher average than this narcissist, and they're like, oh, like I didn't expect you to actually do well in school, like you must have taken all the easy courses, right? Or like or if you're both trying to get into the same program for university, right? This is actually a real life example. Like, so my friend and her friend, okay, want to go into nursing school. My friend, her friend's mom works at the university that they're both going to. Okay, so she was like, my friend was like, oh, I hope we both get into the nursing program. And my friend was like, her friend was like, oh, like I'm sure I'll get in, but my mom works here, so if you don't get in, like I can get you in, like don't you worry, like it's okay. So she's basically implying like that my friend isn't smart enough to get into the program unless she gets extra help from somebody else. So she was like her friend, the narcissist, was like, oh, like I know that I'll get in because like I know I'll do fine on the test, but like if you don't get in, like don't worry, like my mom works here, so like I'll get you in somehow, like we'll figure things out for you. Like what do you mean by that? And if you try to be like, oh, like I didn't like that you said that, it felt really like they phrase it in a way that like it's hard to ask them what they meant by that, because it seems nice, like, oh, I'll help you get in, like, oh, we'll figure it out together, but it's like there's a lot of meanness behind it because they want you to feel bad. So if you bring it up to them, say like, oh, like I didn't like the way you said that, and they're like, fine, then I just won't help you anymore. Like if that's an offensive thing, like they're just always defensive, you know, they're always just like, okay, fine then, like I just won't help you anymore, you know, like it's whatever, like I just won't help you then, I guess. And they just always have to make you feel bad for bringing something up that's just like valid, like I didn't like that you said that. And a normal person would be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel like that. But like this person will be like, fine then, I guess like we just don't have to be friends anymore then, and things like that. Like they just cannot take accountability. Anyways, I hope that this clears some things up for you. I hope that you got something out of this video. I hope that you can escape your narcissistic rats that you have, you know, nearby. I've had many of them, and don't let their pathetic little apologies scoop you back in, because they're infamous for that, and they will never change unless they get like severe therapy and a lobotomy. So yeah, that is it for today.